Hello, hello, my friends. How are you today? I'll wait for a few moments for prayerfully a few of you to come on. Welcome to Radiant Rap. I am Shannon and glad for whoever is going to be joining and for those who will be watching the recording of the live. I am so grateful. The last couple of weeks we've been in the hundreds of views. Um, I always said if I am helping just one person, I believe that this is worth it. As you know, this is my way, one of the ways that I like to give back. I believe that we were all meant to shine and do so radiantly. And radiant is my acronym for what I believe we need in our lives to be healthy and whole: rest, activity awareness, diet, introspection, which is the prayer and meditation, agua, hydration, note taking, which is journaling, and then the T for training. And tonight I am so excited because I have my friend, his name is Joseph, author, with us. He is known, from what I hear, as an overachiever. And Joseph, for over 10 years, actually worked successfully as a financial analyst at a Chicago, very well known uh, he was a financial analyst at a Chicago firm, and he was considered the go-to for very challenging initiatives. At the same time, he was really passionate about health and business coaching. And with all the work and responsibilities after that 10 years period, he began to experience burnt out. So tonight, Joe is coming on to talk to us because what happened after that is he looked for a way to find more balance in his life. And he looked for tools and programs to do that. And he discovered something called High Performance Institute. And this High Performance Institute is one of the world, if not the world's leading think tank. If you ask Joseph, he will say it is the world's leading think tank and training center on helping individuals and companies maximize energy and improve their well-being. And he was so passionate about it that in 2019, he had gotten a plan so that he could leave his job and that comfortable lifestyle that he had created in Chicago as this trusted financial analyst to become a high performance coach. And he's been coaching ever since. He teaches his clients world-class high performance habits and how to incorporate them into their daily lives. And that includes helping clients to gain clarity, energy, productivity, influence, and courage to execute, outpace, and sustain high performance while creating life balance. That's a whole lot. So I said, well, let me get Joseph on here. So here he comes. Joseph, hello. And by the way, hi, Joseph. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited for you to be here. And I should say that I asked him this once, is it okay for me to call him Joseph? Because most people call him Joe. And he said that his mama calls him Joseph. So I said, well, is that okay? He said, yeah. So me and his mom, which I'm old enough to be his mama, call him Joseph. So Joseph, thank you again for coming and sharing with us tonight. Can you please tell everyone first, what led you to go into that whole financial analyst piece and then into this high performance coaching? So tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, first, thanks so much for having me. So excited to be here. And, I've decided that whenever I'm going to be introduced next, I'm just going to hire you because you make me look better than I really
No, no, no. But okay.
am. So thank you so much. Wow. Okay. So what's funny is now that I sit back and pill on how I got to this financial role, being born in Nigeria, born and raised, then moved to the States at the age of 11 back in 95. Prior to moving here, what was interesting was the wealthy people in Nigeria worked in banks and they worked with money. And my family did not come from money. We didn't have that much money. As a matter of fact, I know right before we came on camera, I was telling you how, my sisters, both, I've got two older sisters, and my parents, all five of us lived in a two-bedroom apartment in Nigeria. So we did not have, funds. But at the same time, my family had friends that had money. Therefore, it was something that I thought was important. And I figured out, wow, okay, there was something with some financial background. That being said, I would say today, as I think back, that was probably one of the reasons why I went into that role. But I landed in accounting, got my degree in accounting from Western Illinois University, and then eventually went to work for the Chicago based consulting firm as an accountant, and eventually moved to the financial analyst role. And I will say, today, even though I'm not in that industry any longer, I'm grateful to have had the background and the experience that I got. Because today, as I run my organizations, I'm able to do my financials. I'm able to really understand. We talk about when if you don't understand the numbers to your business, it's just like you don't understand you need blood to live. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you said it's just like you don't understand what?
Yeah, if you don't understand the numbers in your
Right.
business, it's almost like you don't understand the fact that you need blood to be
Oh
alive.
gosh, yeah.
Yeah. So the numbers, to be able to understand the numbers from a business perspective, that has helped me tremendously. And fast forward, like you said, I did live the corporate world in 2019. It was a scary moment, but
I
prior to
bet.
that, some of the big things that made me do so was I got to the point where I was burnt out. I as I was in that role working pretty much from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., jumping on a late train, heading home to a late dinner, gym, and then jumping back online at about 9 p.m. to midnight to train India on how to take jobs out of the US. I was consistently doing that 5 days a week to the point that Saturday, I'm all about self care, but Saturday almost became selfish, where I was so burnt out that I didn't care what was going on Saturday. I didn't care what time it started. I didn't care who was there. All that mattered was I'll get there when I'll get there. And I had to look myself in the mirror and say, who do you think you are?
Oops.
Like, your family says this event starts at 4 p.m. You should be there by 4 p.m. It's not when Joseph decides to be there. And I just couldn't stand who I was becoming. And I had to take a real hard look and say, this person that's forming here, I don't like this. And what was also interesting is because I worked in a city and I would take the train back to the burbs, and I would sit on the train and scroll through Facebook. In that period of my life, I was barely posting anything inspirational. But what was so cool about social media was they would show you memories, and I would click on my memories, and what I wrote in the past started to inspire me while I was in this dark cloud.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that woke me up, and I said, who is that person? I want that person back, and what needs to happen? And the only thing, after enough questioning, enough digging deep, it was, I need to let go of this quote unquote comfortable corporate gig. And
Wow, that's inspiring to me. And I think one of the things that I appreciate and respect about you and some of my friends that are younger, that you were bold enough and mature enough to make changes that young. Because when you're making good money
yeah,
and you're young,
yeah,
or when you're making good money and you're not so young, maybe even more so when you're not so young, you just tend to stay in it. I think your generation is a little bit different because you don't stay. I
right.
mean, you just kind of try and figure it out. But a lot of people are really miserable in their jobs, and then they, or in their lives, and then they can't figure out a way to be okay,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And it could be that they think the grass is going to be greener on the other side, right? But
Yep.
it could have been, Joseph, that you made that change and then you were still miserable. So it was more that had to change than just your occupation, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about the coaching. Can you just share? I said a little bit about it, but can you talk about why you got into coaching? And you said, because you said you were in the intro, I said you were doing a little bit of that while you were working.
Yeah.
So how did that all come to be?
Yeah. So, as you know, I did some health coaching on a part time basis since 2009. And I would say I kind of fizzled back from that in 2016, 2017, because I got so busy with my full time job. And I didn't have that capacity to serve more people. And a part of me just died
Mm,
because now I realized, okay, I was getting a lot of fulfillment from this area of my life that no longer exists. And now I'm just stuck in this grind. And what's going to change? Something has to change. So as I was seeking through resources, trying to figure out what my next steps were, the tools, the high performance resources tools that I coach my clients with now, those were some of the things that helped me actually make the transition. And what was interesting was after I left, I gave my notice. They asked me if I would stay another month. And apparently, I found out later that they talked about perhaps bringing me back. And I told my manager at the time, I said, if you guys had made me any offer, I would ask you for $1 million. If you can't pay that, goodbye.
wow.
That was it. That
That's
is the only
bold.
thing.
That's
Yeah,
real bold, Joseph.
that's it. That is the only way they would have got me back. That's it. So as I left, I was too trying to figure out where I would go. The only thing that I was certain about was I can't stay here. So I think
Oh,
oftentimes we think about I need to have my next step. I need to know exactly where I'm going before I make the move. I believe you just need to know one thing, and it's if you need to be here or you need to go. And I needed to leave because I needed to get myself out of that mentality to think further, to put myself in a situation where I could even be a little bit more creative because my creativity was stomped when I was in that position. So when it came to coaching and using these resources to help me transition out, I said, wow, how powerful is that? And if you think about the world's highest performers from an athletic perspective, what do they all have? They all have a coach. The best CEOs and executives around the globe have a coach. That is one thing because I know I have blind spots. We all have blind spots. And it's always good for someone that you know comes from a place where they care about your future, they care about your productivity, they care about where you're heading. And usually that's a great coach or a good mentor.
mm-hmm.
So I found that to be so helpful for me. And I sat back and said, gosh, how can I help other people that perhaps were once stuck or are stuck in where I once was? How can I come alongside with someone where they know this conversation between us it stays here? Like my
Right.
client privacy is just it's I explain it like the black box in the airplane that they simply never got a chance to play.
That's so important. You're right. I find that with, I mean, our coaching is totally different, but I find that to be true as well. Um, well,
Yeah.
tell me, Joseph, and if you're watching and you have a question for Joe or Joseph, just put it in the chat, or even if you're watching it and it's not live anymore, just put it in, and we'll make sure that the question gets a response. My question to you is, what are some of the most meaningful goals that your coaching has allowed your clients, to actualize?
Yeah. Oh, such a great question. I think back to my longest client, actually, my longest paid client. I remember having a conversation with him. I'd known him for a while and just said, this is what I'm doing. And he said, gosh, I think I may be interested. So we went through our initial free consultation. It's called a strategy call. And he walked away and said, "And how much do you charge for this?" And I told him my price, and he said, "When can we schedule our first session?" So to think about him and who he has become, I mean, one, he's always been in a personal development, so he loves personal growth. He knows there's always a better, stronger, smarter version of him. But how can I continue to access that and work with someone trustworthy? And for him, he would tell you, number one, to understand how to continuously seek clarity, because in order to move forward, you have to be clear in at least one thing. Just like I said,
Sure.
I knew I needed to leave this place, so I was clear on that. So as I coach on habits, the point is to be able to take what we coach and implement it into all areas of your life. So he would tell you to understand the importance of clarity and to be able to seek it out and use it and put it to action is one of the big things. And when it came to communicating with his employee, his colleagues, his boss, to be able to challenge his boss on philosophies, first of all, going in there again, creating enough clarity that this are the issues, this is where we need to go, this is why. To get to that place where you're absolutely sound and sure in seeking clarity and pointing that finger on it to move forward, like that is habit number one that we go through. So he would tell you, number one, finding clarity. Number two, connecting with colleagues to be able to have hard conversations that usually we shy away from, but
Yeah.
to be bold enough, and more than anything else, how you present the problem without coming off condescending, without coming off with ego, but really in the best benefit of the organization. Or he would even go to as far as his home life, how my coaching was able to help him with his significant other to be able to communicate better. Because, I mean, I'll tell you, I was having a conversation with a counselor a few years back, and he told me the three reasons why couples come into him is number one, finance, communication, or sex. So, communication being a big thing. And he would say, my coaching with him has really helped him be a better communicator, all areas of his life.
And that's so important to be able to express yourself in a way that's not combative, um, or demeaning, or in a way that makes you feel like you're disrespecting yourself. Like,
Absolutely.
you don't want to minimize who you are either. So yeah, those are definitely important skills. Well, I know you mentioned that you lived in Nigeria till until you were 11, and that in that time you may share that it was an adversity. But my question to you is, what adversities have you faced that make you relatable, like that? So I don't believe that if anyone has, if they haven't gone through struggles, then they really don't understand people that are going through struggles.
Yeah.
What would you say are some adversities that you face that help you to relate to other people?
Well, you know, coming from a different country at a very young age and having to grow here and having to be made fun of because of the way I talked. I mean, it was so bad that the kids called me an African booty scratcher. I mean, it was all
Aw.
sorts of names. I mean, it was brutal, but that was hard. And 3 years after I came to the States, I ended up being a father at the age of 15, 3, 4 years. And you know, that part of my life, I would call myself an illegitimate parent because I was not present. I left my son for 11 years and then came back and introduced myself. And those were some of the hardest, humbling moments in my life. And from the person that I know I am today, knowing the skills and the abilities that I have that I've been blessed with, if I didn't have such struggle, I truly believe my ego would have probably driven more than anything else. So to really have that place of compassion, when you sit down and you go through a hard time, you have compassion for people and you're able to relate to anyone that has gone through any sort of challenge. Because to me, leaving a human being, besides killing someone, I don't know what else could be worse.
Mm.
That right there, getting getting to a place where I was absolutely humbled and I learned a lesson, by far a big game changer for me to have empathy, number one, and compassion as well for individuals that are struggling through any sort of challenges because I've been through the ringer.
Yeah. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. Um, well, what would you say is the number one most common struggle that people reference when they talk to you? You mentioned communication? Would you say that that's what they would say, or something else?
I would say it depends on the individual and it depends on where they are in life. You know, depending on what chapter, I personally don't like to use seasons of life because seasons repeat themselves, and there's some seasons in my life that I do not want, so I use chapters. So it depends, but what I've come to find out, because my style of coaching is I don't have the answers, you have the answers. I've been trained to ask you the necessary questions to pull
Mhm.
those answers out. So the common theme that I would say I see more than anything else is a limited mindset. And that mindset is, oh my goodness, we could go, this is a conversation for like another time because that on its own, oftentimes, unless you have someone come alongside with you to ask you questions, you don't even recognize the limited mindset that's there. And I'll give you an example. When I first moved to Florida, I will use the words, I can't believe I live in Florida. And I sat back to think about what did I mean by saying I can't believe? Well, as I peeled back, it was number one, the answer was coming from a place of disbelief where I didn't believe that I could actually make it here. One. And number two, fear of, oh my gosh, educating my expectations to the point that if I don't go to Florida, I don't want to be disappointed.
If you don't go to Florida, say that again.
If I don't move to Florida, I don't want to be disappointed.
Oh, I see.
So it was almost like I was speaking from a place of fear, of disappointment.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Yes.
A
So,
lot of people do that
right. So I had
just
to,
in case it doesn't
exactly,
happen.
just in case it doesn't happen exactly. And I had to sit back and really analyze what other areas of my life do I have these limiting beliefs and coming alongside with my clients to help them uncover where are these blocks that we have conditioned ourselves to believe and how can we really take that, identify it, uncover it further as to the root cause and how can we replace it with empowering beliefs. So for me, instead of saying I can't believe, I would use I can believe.
I can't believe that's a good one.
I
So are
can.
you all hearing that? Take that one because I want to pick for the few minutes we have left. I want to pick Joseph's brain to help us with strategies that we can use that can be applicable in our everyday life. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling unappreciative, if you're feeling like you want more than what you currently have, that you deserve more than you currently have. So, one of the things, that's the first one that Joseph just said, is instead of saying, I cannot believe, we should say, I can believe. And so
Absolutely.
for you, it was, I can believe that I'm moving to Florida. And that's something that is so simple because it starts with our thinking and then what we say out of
Yep.
the words we say out of our mouth. And that is one out of the three major areas that we focus on in helping us to shine radiantly: movement, meals, and the number one is mindset. So
Yes.
I appreciate you talking about mindset. And that was one of the reasons I wanted you to come on this month,
Yeah.
because this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, can you give us a couple of other strategies or advice that you would have for people who I don't know, maybe just struggling with where they are in their life right now?
The first thing is can you get honest with yourself?
Oh my gosh.
Change doesn't start externally, it starts internally. Because when you look at a fruit, when you look at a vegetable, deterioration starts internally, and so goes for human beings. So, unless someone is willing to be honest, vulnerable, and transparent with yourself, to look in a mirror and say, that is a wound, that is a soreness, let me take off the piece of clothing, let me take off the skin, let me take off the scab, let's dig deep, let's figure out this right here, let's treat it from within. So unless someone is willing to literally look in a mirror and just get absolutely naked, that is the first step. That's the first step of reality.
Being honest. What
Yes.
if you just can't see it? I know, sometimes even because Joseph and I have we work together, we've done some work together, and we do work together. And one of the beautiful things about it is I am getting some coaching. I'm benefiting from some of his coaching, and I help clients with the things that I help them with. But like you said, we all need a coach. Um, so what if the person isn't, they don't see it?
Mm.
You're saying be honest, but it's a block, a mental block. They can't see it. How can you help them?
That's, well, if someone reached out, we would go through an intake. And from that intake is for you to dump as much information as possible. And that's where I come alongside with you to uncover these things. And, it doesn't necessarily only have to be a coach. It really has to be someone that you're willing to be truthful and honest with. And it doesn't matter whatever questions they ask. So even though, yes, I sat down and I was able to uncover this disbelief, this limiting belief about myself, that's part of the work that I've done over the years to be able to identify that. And for an individual that's never done that, that's completely understand it because it takes training to get there. So it's a matter of, first of all, seeking out a professional that goodness gracious, this individual has the possibility and the potential to help you.
So if
And
you reached out to them, if when someone reaches out to you, do you take that as them giving you permission to tell them the truth?
absolutely. And it's not for me to tell them the truth. It's for me to ask the questions to pull out the truth from them because each
Gotcha.
and every one of us have our truths within.
Right.
It's just a matter of asking the right question to hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
Yep.
So give us another one to say I can, and I can believe instead of I can't believe. To be honest above all things, to be honest. And give us one more. Can you?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say also, I just finished reading this book, Vivid Vision. To have a vision for who you want to be. Anyone that's watching this is breathing and you're alive. Like you got life in you. And at some point, each and every one of us are not going to be here. So until that very last day, who really do you envision yourself being? So I think that vision to be able to see, gosh, this is who I want to be. And this is who I want to be to myself. This is who I want to be to my family. This is who I want to be to my friends. To really have an idea of where you want to go, which again, this is getting deeper. We could go into further, when it comes to visions, but really, if you're able to identify who you want to be, that helps you start to form habits that will get you there because that vision draws you, it excites you.
Absolute preach, brother. Yes, that's so good. That's so true. You got to see it.
You do. You do. Absolutely. So
You got to see it.
having a vision for the future certainly helps us continue to move forward, helps us continue to drive forward, helps us continue to move because at the end of the day, what I want people to understand is your vision is not only for you, but it's for everybody else around you.
Right.
You get to inspire people when you move forward.
Right.
You get
So
to see,
what is your primary goal in helping people to perform better and to have better balance? Like what's your what's your biggest payoff? Like, what is it that you want to see happen?
I selfishly love progress. I selfishly want to be in people's story, knowing that I made an impact. And the reality is, when I work with clients, I'm not only working with that individual, but I'm actually working with everyone else in their circle.
Yes.
And my vision goes beyond this individual that I'm working with. I'm working with their grandkids. I'm working with their coworkers. I'm working with individuals that are beyond my lifetime. And to know that I'm making an impact because of the work
Mm.
we're doing, I'm good.
See, that's why I really appreciate you. I enjoy when we have opportunities to work together. And I appreciate your time being here today. In fact, like I envision, I have another topic that I really would like to share. Will you come back?
Absolutely, be more than happy to. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Joseph, for coming. Again, everyone, if you're watching the replay of this and you have any questions for Joseph or myself, please let us know. And in fact, we're, like I said, doing work together. So if you would like an opportunity to work with him or work with me or work with us, let us know so we can have a conversation. Do you have any last words before we go, Joseph?
Wow, this is always a good question. Because I always feel like this is my chance to I feel like I have a mic and I'm speaking to the world right now. And if I were to say anything, I would say the fact that you're here, you've been designed purposefully for a reason. And it may not be one reason, but multiple reasons. And I myself, I say I'm the one in my family. What do I mean by that? I'm the one that was given an opportunity to be here in this country, and I feel a deep sense of privilege to be here. And that opportunity has come with so many gifts alongside. And if I were to speak to anyone directly, I want to encourage you to be that person that, number one, looks around and says, how can I make an impact? How can I bring people up? How can I make everyone around me be better because I'm being better? How can I impact generations beyond my lifetime? Like, think beyond yourself, because
Mm,
it's not, we live in such a selfish mentality today that it's all about, oh, I'm being happy. What's going to make me happy? It's such a limited mindset. And that doesn't quite drive people. In order to really, really be fulfilled, is to be that one that makes a deep impact in other people's lives. We make a life by what we make. No, no, no. It's Winston Churchill that said, "We make a life by what we give." I just messed that up. I just messed it up. Bottom
all
line,
right. Well, you find the quote and we'll post it.
we'll do that. We'll do
And you
that.
want to paraphrase it real quick?
Oh gosh, I don't want to mess it up. So we'll
Okay,
put
don't
that
mess it up then.
But at the end of the day, I just want to leave each and every one of you with this. The fact that you're watching this, it was not by accident and it's not by coincidence. And it's your chance and your choice now to do something with the information that you've got. And all I'm asking is that you do one thing. One thing. Just one thing today, take action. Because each and every one of us will end up on our deathbed one day, and the last thing you ever want is more regrets. So let's limit as many regrets as we possibly can.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot because that just reminded me of something I saw. I think it was on your IG page that you posted recently about just doing one thing. So the example that you used with if it were you want to get more fit. Do you remember which one I'm talking about?
One.
Used to do just one thing, you
Oh,
said.
yes, yes, yes. That's confidence. Confidence. Confidence, really, at the end of the day, there's small decisions and small actions that eventually compound to be a big decision. As I was talking about, as I left the corporate world in 2019, that's a big life changing decision. A year later, I moved across the country during the pandemic. Those are big, big changes, big life changes that most people just never get a chance or never choose to do. And just doing one thing only increases your levels of confidence. That is simple confidence at its baseline, at its nakedness. It's simple
And
actions.
you gave examples, like if you wanted to get more fit, you go to
Yes.
the gym, you
Yeah.
said just ride past it one
That's
day.
it. That's
Just
it.
ride. You don't even go in. Just
That's
ride
it.
past it.
That's it.
One thing. It could be so small.
That's all.
Sometimes I think people want to make these big steps.
Yes.
So small.
That's
And then
all.
you said, what did you say? Then the next day,
Yeah. So, and also, not one bad habit that I'm working on is to
yeah.
celebrate the small wins, because I
Mm,
think oftentimes we neglect the small important wins, because those are the ones that stack up to be the big one. So one small act of progress deserves a celebration because it makes you feel good, and that makes you feel good makes you come wanting more. So then that leads you to the next step. So yes, first day, you've never been to the gym, you're uncomfortable about the gym, just drive past the gym and just look and go home. Do nothing else.
and that's
Go
a
home.
win. And that would
That's
be
a
a
win.
win.
That's a win. Like you just drove right past it. The next
Love it.
day, pull into the parking lot and maybe knock on a window. They might think you're weird. That's fine. Okay, open the door and just say hi. I just want to maybe check this out, but don't sign up for anything. Go home and celebrate that. The next day, come back and discuss what types of membership would fit your budget. And go home, celebrate that, figure out what fits your budget, come back the next day and sign up. Go home, come back the next day and walk around the gym. Don't even talk to anyone, don't look at anyone, just walk. So those small acts of progress leads you to eventually you're squatting, you're benching, you're doing Pilates, all of it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you again, Joseph, so
Thank you.
much. And thank you, everyone who takes the time to watch this recording. This is our Radiant Wrap. I'm Shannon. You have greatness inside of you. I believe in you. Just start where you are, do what you can. Love you. Nothing you can do about it. Bye for now.
Thank you so much.